This beautiful song, Be Holy, Hear the Whisper, by Ellen Allard. Be holy, hear the whisper, a quiet, gentle voice. Be holy, hear the whisper that helps us make the choice to be like God. To be like God. Be holy, hear the whisper, present every day. Be holy, hear the whisper, it teaches us the way to be like God. To be like God. Be holy, hear the whisper that guides each word and deed. Be holy, hear the whisper, reminding us we need to be like God. To be like God. Be holy, hear the whisper, the warmth of love's embrace. Be holy, hear the whisper, giving us the grace to be like God. To be like God. Kadosh Baruch Hu. Kadosh Baruch Hu.
Shabbat Shalom. One of the difficult aspects of this pandemic is that we don't have the same ability to engage in activities that give us enjoyment and meaning, and that we don't have the same opportunities to move beyond the boundaries of our homes to connect with others. While many of us are trying to make the best of the situation, to notice the blessings, to stay connected online, to appreciate quiet time, to appreciate being with family, it's pretty understandable to be a little fed up, to be done already. It's possible that the root of our resistance to our situation is that we have not fully accepted or granted a place in our personal journeys of life for this pandemic and all that it means. We all would like to dictate what our life paths look like, and yet, in spite of the illusion of certainty that many of us held onto before the pandemic, the life of a human being is truly an adventure where we don't know what's around the bend, and our ability for growth, meaning, and connection is how we meet each new challenge as an opportunity. If we were to sit down and read chapter 33 of the book of Numbers, which is the part of our Torah portion for this week, we might experience it as a tedious undertaking. The chapter recounts the various stations on Israel's journey through the wilderness, all 42 of them. Quote, the Israelites set out from Ramses and encamped at Sukkot. They set out from Sukkot and encamped at Etam, which is at the edge of the wilderness. They set out from Etam and turned towards Pi Hahirot, which faces Baal Zephon, and on and on. Why the painstaking, laborious enumeration of all of Israel's stopping places, even places where nothing of any significance seems to have taken place? Commentators offer an array of interpretations. Rashi says that the list is recited to emphasize God's kindness, because in spite of a long 40-year journey in the wilderness, the people were sustained. Sforno says that the list is recited as evidence of Israel's loyalty and faith in God, that even though they journeyed to 42 places, they never gave up. Maimonides explains that over time, people might doubt the miraculous nature of Israel's journey through the wilderness. They might think that it was just mundane, like many of us feel about our lives, that every day we do our thing and it's two-dimensional, easily explained and understood, lacking in any real depth and connection. In this interpretation, each place is listed because of its significance. Maimonides, the Torah explains its significance, but instead invites us to consider that just like Israel's journey through the wilderness was not mundane, neither is ours. And we have the opportunity to create significance every day. We're often tempted to think that one of the many things we do is real life, while everything else represents a distraction. At best, a means of facilitating the activities we really value. Maybe our work is what's essential, and everything else is at best a diversion, or at worst a distraction. Or our family is what's essential. Maybe our work and everything else essential is at best, and everything else is at best or at worst a distraction. Or any one of the 1,000 other things is what is significant, and none of our other endeavors really matters. Our relationship to religion, to Judaism, can fall into this trap. That serving God, being Jewish, can only be found in a certain set of activities. Maybe it's attending Zoom Shabbat services, or volunteering, or taking a walk in nature, or creating art, or working for social justice. But a Talmudic teaching suggests a different point of view. Bar Kapara asks the question, what short text is there upon which all the essential principles of Torah depend? And he then quotes a line from Proverbs that says, in all your ways know God, and God will make. And he then quotes a line from Proverbs, in all your ways know God. All your ways know God. What exactly does this mean? Maimonides holds that the highest human ideal is to be aware of the presence of God. Not some idea of God, but the actual presence. For Maimonides, everything, all the mitzvot, all the good in the world comes from an awareness of this presence. Everything, all the mitzvot, he understands the verse, all the good in the world comes from we do, an awareness of this presence. Everything, sleeping, all the working, should be done not for fulfillment of the self or for pleasure alone. He understands the verse, all the good in the world comes and contemplation of God. There's a tradition that when one buys groceries during the week that will be eaten on Shabbat, one should say to themselves as they buy it, Lichvot HaShabbat, I'm buying this in honor of Shabbat. And then the mundane act of buying groceries serves a higher purpose, the pleasure of Shabbat. Rabbi Abraham Isaac Cook, the first chief rabbi of Palestine, Israel, in the early part of the 20th century, puts forth a much more radical and powerful interpretation of what it means to know God in all of our ways. He teaches that one must seek and open to God in the midst of the way that one acts. No matter what it is that we do, we seek God within it. That is obvious when we're engaging in overtly spiritual activities like a Shabbat service, a meditation, or a walk in nature. But what about the shopping for groceries, talking to our children, or the myriad of other things that we do in a given day? In this way, everything we do is not means to an end, a way to get from Egypt to the promised land, but instead everything we do is an opportunity to discover the vitality, the aliveness, the energy, the love, and humanity that is God's presence within that action, that activity. There's two levels to this teaching. One is about training our minds and hearts to be fully present in the moment before us. But the other is about training our minds and hearts to open to the holy in each moment, not by relying on what we do, but also on how we do it, with ways that seek to emulate the qualities of awareness, presence, and availability. When we seek to practice each moment in this way, then the time we are living in, the time of this pandemic, is not something keeping us from some other journey that we'd rather be on, but we affirm instead that this is the journey. And when these moments are listed in the Torah of our lives upon looking back, we will see that the way that we lived these stops were not wasted time, but instead essential steps in not only the unfolding of our own growth, but in the growth of humanity as a whole. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, and we are so glad that you are here to join us for services tonight. We're going to move our stream now to 3 channels. Wherever you're most comfortable, please join us. We will be on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, or our custom streaming channel, which is livecontrol.site/Temple Bethel. Shabbat Shalom.